Oh. Well, welcome to Don't Get Your Hopes Up. Did we start?
Yep.
Okay. Hi. So, welcome to
We have
Don't
nothing
Get
to
Your
talk
Hopes
about.
Up.
We have absolutely
literally
nothing to
have
talk
nothing.
about.
Yeah. We have a text document that mostly says the word behold. And I'm serious. It's just the word behold. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 times. And then the word nothing. So, speaking of behold the nothing that happened this week, it's been a slow week in the internet. I think the most newsworthy thing that happened this week happened like today, which is that Twitch is starting to roll out their cheer/bit/ whatever you want to call it system to I think right now it's just the US and the UK.
I think so.
But they're like it's their first step. And honestly, obviously, the reason that they've only rolled it out to a couple of countries so far is because there are a lot of like legal issues to work around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's interesting.
It is. At first, I didn't know. It's funny because we talked about this before, and I guess I never made note of what the actual the amount was. Right? So,
Yeah.
like, what the conversion is. So, like, someone sent me like 100, and I was like, I have no idea what that is. And someone was like, oh, it's like $1. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and then you sent me one.
Yep.
You literally threw me a penny.
Yeah.
Like a fucking penny.
Don't spend it all in one place.
That's gonna get taxed. So like,
I've successfully sent you like 3/5 of a cent.
Yeah. So it rolled out, and what's nice is that like Twitch Alerts already has a default, like pretty fantastic little animation and notification system, because they have like their own little notifications that pop up and everything. But they also have these nice high quality GIF copies of the actual ones that you see in chat, the little bit that shows up and does all these crazy things. And yeah, so it's out and it's great. I don't even know how to track how much I have so far or whatever, like, because we did a BG. I was thinking, you know what, we're getting way off, whatever. So I get on a little early and I'm like, hey, let's do like a couple BGs, because last night I got to 100 on my shaman, and I was like, well, let's step into the ring. Let's do this. Now, at any other point in WoW's history, that would have been a really dumb idea, right? I mean, you have to do it sometime, but usually it's not the first thing you do. You want to go get some kind of gear somewhere, like whether it's craft your own, like bloody leather, whatever, spalders or something. Usually you don't just jump right into the mix. But I did, and I went in there with a bunch of people in Discord, and it was fucking great. It was great because the normalization that's in right now made it so even though I was a complete freshie with just like complete garbage ass gear, I was able to go in there and be pretty fucking durable compared to what I thought I would be, as a resto. And we played like 6 matches, and of course we won 5 of them because of my leadership skills and whatnot.
Yo, I'm just saying, if you're in at least a little bit of a pre-made and you don't win every one, that seems like kind of like you should have won 6 of those 6 matches.
I was saying
saying.
I was saying that last night. I was like, if you, like afterwards, they were like, yeah, it's like, yeah, but that's kind of what we're supposed to do. Like, if you win 50-50 in rateds after doing like 100 rateds or something, like that's like okay, like you basically reached where you're supposed to be, and that's fine. But when you do 50-50 with a pre-made in a pug, you're not doing very well at all.
Yeah.
At all. And so then tonight I was like, yeah, let's get on and we'll do a match and or a couple matches before lore shows up, and then we queue up and it pops. Now last night when we were queuing, obviously we took out Alterac and I think Isle of Conquest.
Like you do when you play Horde.
Right, yeah, when you play Horde. And so I took those out, and then tonight, the first thing that pops up was Alterac Valley. Now, I don't know if this is some kind of fucking sick joke you guys got going on over there at Blizzard, but it's pretty shitty when I look at my list of things that I blocked, and Isle of Conquest is still blocked, but Alterac Valley is not, for no reason. It unchecked it, and somebody said, I guess it's just something that you guys do for lulz. Every other time you log in, you have to check it. So we spent 44 minutes in an Alterac Valley match, and we won with the Alliance having only 8 resources on us.
Yeah, I mean, that's never happened to me, so sounds like user error, you know what I mean? Sounds like...
I mean, it's possible I could have opened it up and checked Alterac Valley for some reason. You're right. I could have accidentally... Yeah, right.
That's probably what happened.
Oh, my God. Well, let the record show this has happened. I'm going to get a petition together, and I'm going to have Mark Kern fucking deliver it to your doorstep. Right?
It's unfortunate that you don't have any video evidence of this occurring. So I just don't believe you.
Well, anyways.
But yeah, I think Alterac Valley is being very persistent at the moment. I think that's a known issue.
Yeah. Oh, well, good. Because that sucked. But we won, so it actually didn't suck that bad. We got our 1 token out of it. But no, it's the point of the whole thing is that PvP is pretty fun right now.
Yeah.
And the fact you can just get in is great.
Yeah, the gear scaling, obviously I guess anti-gear scaling is probably a better way to put it. It obviously has a lot of really, really strong benefits for max level because I just hit level 110. I can immediately jump into some PvP and I won't have honor talents, but it doesn't matter that much. But at lower levels, so at max level, you can get a very small stat bonus by increasing your item level. And you can do that at all levels, but at lower levels, nobody's actually above that. Heirlooms don't take you above that, I don't think. If they do, it's by a very small amount.
Mm-hmm.
So now, all of a sudden, gear is, balanced in low B PvP. And it's never been like that before in the history of the game.
Low B PvP?
Yeah. Not 110 PvP, basically.
Oh, okay.
Not
yes.
max level PvP.
Sorry,
either.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because low B PvP,
cool.
I did it a couple times, and it fucking sucked.
Oh, did you?
It sucked because it's when the gear is equivalent across the board, and you have rogues and hunters and other classes that, every other tier, they just become gods. That was rough. But yeah, at 100, it's not bad. It feels pretty, except for warlocks, actually. I take that back. Warlocks are dicks. They're like fucking tanks right now.
Yeah. They're, just between you and me, they're gonna get nerfed. just saying. I actually think those nerfs are already live. I think they've been noted already. So the really, really cool thing is there's all these new hooks for the developers, the PvP developers specifically, to go in and just say, all right, we're gonna balance this class in PvP now, and now they can do crazy things like this class is too hard to kill in PvP, so now they have less health and they can just do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy. That's an afternoon tops to make that happen. So it's really cool. I'm really excited, and they're really taking advantage of it too, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for PvP, man. It's I like rated PvP, but for me, to just sort of jump in, do some battlegrounds, jump in, do some skirmishes, that's my sort of bread and butter. That's what I like, just because I often don't have the ability to really organize, hey, everybody, make sure you log on and we'll do some rated PvP, and I don't have a ton of playtime either. So if I log on and no one is online right now that wants to do rated arenas, that's my PvP time for the week is gone. I don't have time to do that again later.
Yeah.
So just being able to jump in and do some random battlegrounds and just kind of go around and shit on some people in some random BGs, like that's what I love. So I'm super excited for that.
Yep. No, it feels good, and it also feels good playing from the healer perspective. It's funny, like I have no mods, like zero, which I need to really fucking stop that. And I have no macros, which is super dumb because I have like 50 macros or something like that in my stupid macro thing, but I don't use like any of them. More specifically, the on mouse hover for like the spells and all that. And it was funny. I used to play when I used to play a 19 Twink Priest, right? It was a Nelf, and I had a bunch of macros for him, and one of them was the over on mouse over or whatever dispel, which is super great. You know, you just basically just hover your mouse over somebody that needs a dispel and just tap it, boom, it's done. If it's an enemy, you could purge or whatever. And I found myself like doing that, like hovering my mouse over, and it's funny, that's like a 5-year-old like, you know, muscle memory mechanic that's coming back to me, like in the thick of things. It's like, oh man, I'm mouse over and I hit T, and it's like, oh yeah, I have to actually click on it because I have my fucking macro, because that was 5 years ago that I was doing that, and it's all coming back. It's crazy.
So speaking of things coming back and it's crazy, someone in your chat room just mentioned this, so I Googled it, and it's actually true. So thank you, Death's Keeper, for giving us something to talk about on this show. Mark goddamn motherfucking Kern he's made another change.org petition. He's made another one for essentially vanilla servers, but not for WoW. No, he wants to make what is essentially a Firefall vanilla server. And so he made a change.org petition for some fucking reason. I don't understand. I'm still reading this. But it says, okay, I'm not asking for support to make a game. I'm asking people to convince me there's a market left to make it. If you want to see the original version of Firefall, sign this petition. And he goes into talking about, like, here's what Firefall was back, you know, when it sucked. He says, you can't play that game anymore. It was changed and lost forever. Unfortunately, when new management took over, they changed the game completely before launch and turned it into something that was potentially actually slightly profitable. I added that last little bit there. Yeah, this is... So this is ridiculous.
Yes, I think so.
And he's also apparently making a tabletop RPG.
Which is fine. Everyone's doing that nowadays.
Yeah, fucking everyone's making tabletop games. Assholes. His will still probably be finished before mine, but mine will be better.
Yeah. No, I did see this. Yes, Clunkers did send this to me. I didn't think it was anything of substance, but since his name did come up today.
Yeah. God damn it. Man, that guy. He's really, really good at making himself relevant enough to talk about on a regular cadence.
Well, that's good. It's what you want, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, now there's nothing else to talk about on that particular topic.
Yep,
so
that's it.
That's dead now.
It's got 3,000 sings. That's about it.
Yeah.
Just a few shy of what he got for the Vanilla WoW servers.
Yeah, he's probably going to take all those signatures, print out the entire petition that many times, and then deliver it to himself. Yeah. So, I've been playing Destiny lately. I guess we could talk about that.
You have.
Yeah.
My PS, I don't even know if it works anymore. I feel like after a year of inactivity, it just kind of dies. But, yeah, is it any good?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a really good game.
Yeah,
like it's been a really good game that you just run out of things to do in.
Right, like, that's so true.
Yeah,
oh
like
God.
I mean, much like every other game that you don't pay a subscription for, like. And because you don't pay a subscription for it, it kind of doesn't need to, like, where WoW, when WoW goes a period, or any subscription game, when it goes a period of time without new content, people kind of start going, you guys, I'm paying you a monthly sub fee. You should probably give me something to do with that money. You know what I'm saying? Give me something to do. And that's totally fair. But like Destiny is, you buy it and then you buy the expansion. Like you buy the fuck was the expansion called? If only I had a
Rise of
PS4 directly in front of me. No, the other one, the Oryx one.
Oh, the Oryx one. Yeah.
Yeah. My monitor is sitting on my PS4 to where I can't read the name of that expansion. So, I don't remember what it was called right now.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's gonna fucking bother me. What the fuck was that thing called? The first expansion? Taken King. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Kalani CTR. But yeah, like you buy the Taken King, and then that's you set for a year with Destiny. And if you finish Destiny before a year is up, GG, I guess. Like, good job. You got your money's worth out of it, hopefully. And that's about it. And I think that actually works just fine for a console, like, quote-unquote MMORPG. But yeah, I jumped into it again. I've been playing it a bit, working a little bit here and there on my my moments of triumph. It's a fun sort of like, did you remember to actually do all the content we gave you? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot all this stuff that you gave me that I never did. I forgot about it. Hang on, I'm going to go kill mobs for the next 40 minutes with void damage because that's a engaging quest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was actually, it's been fun so far. I've been enjoying it. The skill-based matchmaking they brought in for the, like, they've done, I feel like they've done some tweaks to the matchmaking for PvP because I suddenly find myself not getting shit on in every single match. And like the matches where I do get shit on, it immediately goes, okay, we did bad, sorry. And then it puts me into a game where I can do fairly well. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Like the PvP is suddenly really fun. Which is good. I think also part of it is I've been playing enough Overwatch that I'm now just kind of used to the... Like, when I first started playing Destiny PvP, I would just get killed by someone who used their ultimate. I'd be like, fucking bullshit, fucking overpowered, fucking blade dancers, fucking bullshit. But now I'm kind of used to... In Overwatch, like, sometimes you just fucking die. And there was nothing you could have done about it. Someone else pushed Q, and that was, yes, like, there was a Junkrat, he got the drop on you, you're dead now. And so I'm just kind of used to that mindset now at this point, which means I can play Destiny, and someone can just, like, you hear that sort of like hammer on the plate of metal sound when the Sunbreaker pops their ultimate, and you're like, well, I'm gonna die now. I guess I should die sooner rather than later so that I can respawn soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to. Right now, it's really hard for me to even like think. You know, oh yeah, I'm gonna
right now.
Like, well, no, like right now, like to think about going and playing another game. You know, like within the next week, mainly because WoW has its hooks in me right now. At the moment,
that's a good excuse. I'll accept that excuse.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
When is the expansion?
World of Warcraft is the objectively better video game.
When is the Rise of Iron or whatever coming out?
I don't know, but
September 20, 2016. Okay, plenty of time.
There's an expansion for World of Warcraft coming out on August 30th.
There is. Yeah, I heard about that one.
Yes, it's the best expansion to any game ever.
Oh God, I'm not looking forward to leveling more, but whatever.
But yeah, September 20th, I think, for
Rise of Iron.
Yeah. I'm going through my head and going, okay, what shit have we now unknowingly dropped directly on top of that? Like, I did not know. I had just totally forgotten the date for Rise of Iron, and now I'm like, oh god, I bet we're releasing something.
Something is going to come out that day. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This week we have, or next week we have No Man's Sky. Oh, wait, the 9th. So next week, No Man's Sky. That'll be interesting. There was a leaked video that popped up. So this guy bought this copy off eBay for like over $1,000 plus like some stupid amount for shipping. Like the guy spent a shitload of money for I guess an early access or review copy or something of the game. And then he ended up having to pay shipping on eBay. And so he gets it, and he logged his entire experience on Reddit. And there was a couple of videos that got posted, and man, they were taken down so fucking quick. But the internet is resourceful, and it was mirrored everywhere so fucking quick. And so then, did you get a chance to watch it?
No, I did not.
I watched it. It looked.
I was saying this before we started the show. But my knowledge of No Man's Sky is identical to what it was the last time we talked about No Man's Sky.
It looks interesting. It's like it's basically a survival exploration game, right? Single player.
Yeah.
And apparently the game is so big with how many different worlds it can generate. Every single player will start off on their own unique planet. So my job as a reviewer, because I will be doing an in-depth review on this, is to figure out just how random that is. Because when you look at all of the procedurally generated games we have out right now, procedural generation is usually some kind of equation that once you notice it or once you see it, it's everywhere. You know, it's like, that's like an elk head and an elephant body. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's easy examples of, like, if you look at a dungeon crawler that uses procedurally generated dungeons, eventually you'll be like, okay, yeah, and this is the library room, and the doors are here and here and here, and I can come over here and open this chest that's always here, and exactly.
Yep. So I'm hoping that those types of things don't like pop out. And also think about like the world generation, you know, like how random is it going to be? Even a game like Space Engineers, which they put a lot of work into their world generation and doing all that. But the thing is, like there's still copy pasta areas. You know, like if you go around and you fly around enough, you'll notice that there are indeed like these copy pasta areas. And so it's I'm hoping that it is like they have a really good system down and they can, you know, make it so that every time you land, it's like a completely different experience. And there's enough different factors, you know, like there's oxygen or like air quality, gravity, and all this crazy stuff. I hope there's like all this shit that will come into play that makes it feel like not only that it's a unique experience, but that's a dangerous experience, like or a dangerous encounter or you know, exploration voyage. Like I want to basically look at a planet, and as I'm going into land, maybe it's like, oh hey, if you land, you're going to have to find some kind of resource to upgrade your engines or something, so that way you can take off because the gravity is too strong. I want something. I want some kind of danger. So we'll know next week. I watched some of the leaked videos, which they get mirrored everywhere, and as Chad's telling me, also on Pornhub. It's getting all over. Which is funny because Pornhub has been host to a lot of like mirrored contents. So there's just like a guy out there, a couple of people out there who are just like, hey, I know where we can put this. Let's put it on Pornhub.
I'll have to run that by our social media guy. Like, hey, you know those Harbingers videos have been doing pretty well on YouTube, but you know where they do really well? It's the same video. We just overlay some like bow chicka bow behind it. It'd be really good.
Doom 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 doom. That's not actual. Never mind.
So, Gul'dan's like, I found my destiny, and you're like, yeah, he did.
Let's see.
So what I want to do with No Man's Sky is I'm gonna put this out here right now. I want people to tweet me screenshots of their random planet that they start on, like their home planet, essentially, because I want to judge you based on your hometown. And be like, yeah, so this planet This planet looks like a bit of a backwater, I'm gonna be honest. Like, there's not much to this planet. You probably have low economy and mostly elk creatures. Yeah. So
wait,
go ahead.
So speaking of Pornhub, by which I mean speaking of adult content, and also in parallel, speaking of video games being hosted.
You're dual wielding this one.
Yeah. By which I mean, speaking of, can we put them together now? Adult video games. Remember Team Nimbus and the Cloud Meadow, the breeding season game on Patreon?
Yeah, I do.
So they were at what, like, when we were talking about it, the guy split, right? He basically, so the TLDR is there's this game that was bringing in $42,000 a month on Patreon. And it was a porn game. And if you go back a couple episodes, I gave a very detailed breakdown of the game because I have played it for science. Okay. And so the game is, it's an adult like game. All right. So the team apparently had a falling out, cause you know how these, adult game dev teams are sometimes. They fell apart. The one guy basically left. He took all of his. He had the best contract in the world. Or basically, he took all of his toys and left because it was written into his contract that he could do that and take half the money that they had. And so he started his own Patreon. He was at, I think, like $800 or $900 or something like that. When we talked about it, I just checked to see where he's at. He's at $6,700 right now. He's up 149,180.85% from last month.
That's what in the industry we refer to as a growth period.
Yes. So yeah, he's his average per patron is $3.83. And yeah, I know that everyone was curious whatever happened to that, and we don't really do a lot of follow-ups on some of these like real like fringe stories like this because it is such a fringe and bizarre story. And yeah, I checked in on it, and sure enough, man, like he's up to 7. I can't remember what I said that he would probably get up to, but this still seems pretty fucking good, and he's still growing. Looking at the graph right now,
like I bet he's growing.
Yeah, he's still climbing the charts, man. So maybe we'll check in again in a couple months.
Climbing the charts. Yeah. I don't remember what I was gonna say before now. I got distracted with breeding season.
Mm-hmm. We do.
Yes, sure. That's grammatically accurate. So okay, I have another topic that we can hit that I remembered midway through this. So Instagram has Snapchat now, which is interesting because now there's 2 ways for me to not understand Snapchat. I can be too old for Snapchat twice.
Yep.
So, okay, I don't know if it's the way that it's presented in the UI or if it's just because I was already following a bunch of people on Instagram or what it is, but for some reason, I can handle Instagram Snapchat. It's actual Snapchat, I launch the app, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I open it up and I go, this is entirely too hip and now for me. Like, this is not a thing that I can put my head around. I don't understand this. When we were at one of the qualifier cups at MLG in New York, like I saw Venruki was like taking Snapchats, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I love Snapchat. It's so good." I was like, "Really? I don't understand it." And so he spent like 10 minutes explaining to me how to Snapchat, and I don't remember a single goddamn word. Like, all I remember is that he said that people sometimes say he's pretty good at Snapchat. And I believe him. Like, he's the sort of guy that would be good at Snapchat. He's pretty good at Instagram. He's pretty good at social media in general. And all I can think is I've reached that. I'm past 30 now. I'm gonna be 33 here in a month and a half, something like that. A little over 2 months. I'm gonna be 33. I'm just beyond the. You know how old people like there's this. So Mike, you know how old people are. You know how there's this like. I remember back when we were in like early college.
Mm-hmm.
There was this like, oh man, you guys download this ringtone for your cell phone because it's high enough frequency that old people can't hear it. You remember that? And it worked. Like I could just barely hear this thing going off, but like the teachers in my classes just wouldn't hear it at all. And I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. #life hacks. Except that didn't exist back then, because by the way, my phone was like the size of a VHS tape, which no one listening to this knows what that is. So that was a terrible fucking. But anyway, like I'm convinced that's Snapchat. It's something that older people cannot comprehend. Our brains just can't wrap around it.
You are crazy.
I don't understand Snapchat.
Man,
I don't get it.
Here's how if you want to learn and understand how Snapchat works,
you realize, of course, that everything you're about to say, I will not be able to process. There's nothing. It's not gonna happen.
All you have to do is just follow a bunch of porn stars. That's it. That's it, man. That's all you gotta do. And then after a few days, you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, okay, I understand what the purpose of this is. Or not as a purpose, but like what people post and the type of content and the speed of delivery, or like the speed of how you have to deliver content and how you dress it up, and basically here's the purpose of Snapchat. They release a filter, and every single person you follow, you're gonna see their face with that stupid fucking filter on it, and that's it. Like the stupid mask, or the dog with the dog nose with the mouth or the tongue or whatever. That's it. That's what Snapchat is basically for right now. There's only there's like, well, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. There's a handful that I follow that are actually really good and really interesting, and most of them are kind of like just funny. And one of them actually is on Instagram also, and it was a model I wanted to work with, but now I don't really give a shit about working with her. I just want to fucking follow her on Snapchat and Instagram. But you could look her up if you want. Creepy Anna. It's KR, basically creepy with a K, and then ANA. Basically, it's just like this, like, just she posts like hilarious bullshit, right? And it's like, and then there's of course there's what's his face, Mr. fucking Major Key. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he's like Snapchat celebrity, and he posts like random shit like throughout his day. And yeah, it's just. But here's the thing. Ultimately, Snapchat sucks. It really, truly does. Because Instagram's Snapchat thing, it has much better delivery. It integrates super well with the content because you could take what you post, like that thing you posted today, where you're like, #Chili's, #YOLO or whatever, and you look very disgruntled. Right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you can click on it, and you could post it to your timeline. So it integrates super well with the existing timeline. I did a photo shoot yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. And I took a couple pictures. I could take any of those pictures, and I post them up there. They get really, really good visibility, super high visibility on these. And then I could take it and I could post it to my feed if I want to, whenever I want. So it's so keep going with the Instagram thing, because the way you approach it is going to be unique compared to the way other people approach it, and people might like it, people might not.
I'm going to approach it like an old person. That's kind of my gimmick on Insta Snapgram chat, is I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this.
Man, at first I was like, so here's the thing that's hard for me to wrap my head around, which is kind of like the old man in me, is why people create content that they're willing to throw away over time. like over time being 24 hours. Like
Yeah.
the Insta snaps that I posted from the shoot, they're gone, right?
Yeah.
I think I downloaded a couple, but they're basically gone. But it's kind of like, I took those pictures knowing that they were going to be gone. So it's like, okay, yeah, they're gone, like whatever. And what's nice is my feed, which my Instagram feed is basically all of my photography stuff. So it's just basically random shots from various sets and shoots that I've done. I wouldn't necessarily post, a random picture of, a thing that I saw somewhere that I thought was amusing. I wouldn't post that to my Instagram feed, but it gives me another way of posting something that it's like, that's pretty funny, but I don't need to fucking immortalize it.
Yeah, I guess the sort of like so from my end, from my perspective, I always thought of it as, why would I want something to go away later? Because I tweet shit all the time, and every once in a while someone goes and digs up a tweet that I made like 6 years ago that's like, oh, it's so funny, you posted a picture of the game and it's Twitter, and I'm always like, oh, that's funny that still exists. That's kind of entertaining, but like at the same time, I don't have a problem with stuff that I've said sticking around. But again, I'm old. Like I'm fairly well established in my opinions of things at this point, and like I'll certainly change opinions on stuff from time to time, but it happens much less frequently than it did when I was much younger. And thinking about it, like if I was tweeting the stuff that I used to talk about and the opinions that I used to hold when I was like 16, 18, holy shit, people would be digging up some horrible garbage. Like, I was not a well-adjusted young man. I'm just gonna put that out there. So I can totally see the sort of like, I don't have to worry about this coming back to haunt me in 15 years sort of aspect of it.
I can think of an example on Twitter where I wouldn't mind a auto expire feature, and that would be on content where, and you do this too, whenever we know that there's a sizable chunk of our follow base that is watching something that we're watching, and we live commentate on it. Because
yeah, that's true.
If you look at some of those tweets, like I'll go back and I'll watch tweets from like 2 E3s ago or something like that, where we're watching, one of the presentations, and it's like I have no idea what that was referring to because there's no context.
Yeah, like I have at least 20 tweets somewhere in my timeline that are just me saying things like LOL what?
Yeah. Right? And so
and I'm like, yeah, exactly, yes. I agree, past self. Lol what?
You should find one of those and then retweet it with like a lol what?
Yeah.
So I think that's a feature that I wouldn't mind seeing on Twitter. Like something I could just say, yeah, you know what, in 2 weeks, just expire this shit. Just get rid of it. Because no one's gonna know what it's about. And it'll tidy up my feed so that way it's more when people go to look at, like I say, if someone wants to follow me, right, and they look at my feed, open up real quick. Now they're not going to see a bunch of like random shit. Like, what is this guy talking about? Everything's going to have context.
Yeah.
And so Instagram does that pretty well now.
Yeah, I can see. I definitely feel like I think it's probably just because I already follow a bunch of people on Instagram, because the feed style of the normal Instagram makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm just getting like every once in a while, like, oh, I follow my niece on Instagram because I don't see her very often. So I'm like, yeah, I want to know what my niece is up to. And she'll post like a little thingy, and I'm like, oh, she's hit her boyfriend with a pillow. All right, I guess that's what she's up to right now. Good to know, I guess. Or there's actually like, so I'm gonna be honest. There's this because I'm old and desperately trying to cling on to my youth. I've been following this skateboard shop that's nearby, and like they keep posting like little. They do really well on Instagram, and they've just really grabbed a hold of stories on there. Probably just mirroring whatever they're probably already doing on Snapchat because they're hip and now like that.
God damn it, Lord! How? Oh, that's why you were so quiet. You were literally posting. Fucking Snapchat.
Oh, yeah, actually, the other reason I was quiet is that while you were talking about Snapchat, my internet went out.
I noticed that when you came back. Yeah, you kind of sounded like shit for a second there.
Yeah,
That's
like
fucking great.
fortunately I could still hear you most of the time, but
Yeah,
even
yeah.
my fucking internet connection was like, I'm too old for this shit. But yeah, like there's this skate shop that I follow on Instagram, and they just be like, we just got a bunch of new decks in, and they show them off, and they do like a little pan across them. And that doesn't need to stick around forever, because in a week those will be sold, so who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Yeah. I still think it's the sort of thing that in most cases, like, it's one of those, like, well, it doesn't matter sort of things, less than it is this is a benefit, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, like, I tweet things that then, 2 weeks later, someone replies to it. Like, even just earlier today, like, we were having an issue with a blog that went out. And so I was like, we were having some internal network issues as well. So I was like, we don't know if this is an internal issue or not. Hey, internet, could you take a look at this blog and let me know if you're having this issue? And within a span of like 5 seconds, people were like, yes, we're also having that issue. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks, problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 20 minutes ago, I got someone replying and saying, no, it looks just fine to me. And it's because we fixed that like now 8 hours ago.
Yes. Yes. Fuck.
But yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's yeah. So
and
anyways,
like,
it's
yeah, I'm like scrolling. I'm scrolling back through my tweets, and like, here's one of me saying the final 2016 NA Qualifier Cup is in like 2 hours.
God,
it's
now
not.
Twitter needs that feature.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If anything, Twitter needs that feature so that the spam bots that come on and retweet, and favorite random shit, they'll at least do that to stuff that has context. So perhaps maybe the exposure you get from this shitty fucking bot has some value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Yeah, wait, so tell me how you killed one of your Twitter accounts to death. How does that work?
Oh, yeah. So, when I started at Blizzard, I was just using my personal Twitter account still. And I was like, yeah, I'll just talk about whatever's useful on this Twitter account. And it helped that, like, my following on Twitter, especially still at the time, and also still nowadays, is predominantly WoW players.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like I was telling my family members and some people that I hang out with at the club, which I don't do. All of my friends who were hip and now, telling them about, here's what's going on in WoW. Like, I was actually talking to WoW players. So it's like, yeah, this is useful. Before too long, I was like, okay, now I'm talking about a lot of WoW stuff on this channel. This should really be coming from like an official Blizzard channel, not from my personal channel. So that was when I made the CM Lore Twitter account. And it's like, okay, yeah, now this is when I have info to give to the masses. I will put it out on this channel. Time went on from there, and eventually we set up Warcraft Devs, which is now where all of that sort of info comes from. Because instead of the developer telling something to me, and then I put it out on my CM Lore channel. Now it's like, okay, the developer says, can we get this out on this channel? It's like, yes, there you go. So all those tweets it's actually info coming direct from the devs. I just sort of help facilitate that. But because I'm helping facilitate that, that means that now whenever there's something that I would put on CM Lore, I can go to the devs and say, hey, would you like a tweet about this? And they'll say, yeah, put it out. I'm like, okay, I'll also put that out on there. So now all of the actual, like, really useful info is coming from Warcraft devs. All of my personal, like, cat pictures and what I'm doing with my face at any given moment is on my Devilore Twitter channel. As well as, like, I'm streaming, or I'm doing the Digi-Whoos, and so on. And so CM Lore I just haven't been using, because it's like, what do I post here? If it's interesting, relevant info, that probably goes out on Warcraft devs. If it's what am I doing with my face right now, it probably goes out on Devilore. And so I had this weird, like, official but not really extra personal account. And so I kind of went to my boss and was like, hey, can I just shut this thing down? Is that okay if I just stop using this and, like, tell people to go follow me on my regular account? Because everything that I would post on CM Lore, I would also post on my personal account. And he was like, yeah, it's fine, go for it. So I was like, okay, cool. So that's what I did. I thought briefly about, like, renaming that account, the CM Lore account, to Devilore and doing it that way, but a lot of people, I don't want to lose the people that have been, like, following me since ages ago,
right,
on Twitter. does make me a little bit sad because now I have my Twitter account. I just passed 31,000 followers, which I'm pretty excited about.
Nice.
But CM Lore had just passed 50,000, so it's like I could be more fake relevant still. But whatever, it's cool. Hopefully, at least some of those people decide to follow me on my personal one as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like it's a lot more straightforward than it. Like you think, oh, Blizzard community manager shuts down his Twitter account, and like immediately there's all sorts of like, because my job is to think of the worst possible ways that people could react to something. All these warning bells go off in my head. It's like, oh, people are going to think it's because I'm not talking to them anymore, when in reality I'm probably going to talk to them more,
Even more,
because now I'm actually seeing their tweets instead of having to keep track of 2 accounts. But yeah, actually it's been really, really smooth so far, and I'm kind of surprised by that.
Well, good.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense, and that's kind of good, that kind of great that Blizzard is just kind of like, oh yeah, go for it. Like a real personal account.
It's also like Blizzard as a company has been doing a lot more. For a long time, I think it would actually be really fair to say that Blizzard kind of wasn't really paying attention to what its employees were doing on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we sort of got into the stages, like especially even as recently as early like Warlords of Draenor beta. We had things like major announcements going out on Corey Stockton's personal Twitter account, because it just didn't occur to him that the information that he was about to reply to somebody with wasn't super public yet, and like nobody really knew. So, like specifically, like I remember when Karabor and Bladespire were with Karabor and Bladespire, they were canned fairly early on in Warlords development. It was kind of one of those like, yeah, you know what, we're not going to do this. We're going to do this other thing instead that we think is cooler. And so Corey was just replying to some guy who was like, hey, so when are we going to get to see Karabor and Bladespire in the expansion or something like that? And Corey was just like, we're not going to do this. And that was like how it was announced, essentially, because it hadn't been made publicly available since then. And of course, like, it wasn't Corey's decision. Like, Corey, it was just, now Corey is considered to be the person who made that decision because he was the one that said it. And so that was when we were like, all right, hang on. We need to do a lot more training for people on here's what's okay to say on Twitter, here's what's not. We need to set up this Warcraft devs thing so that when the developers need to tweet something, it can go out through one channel instead of people having to follow 50 fucking developers in order to keep track of what's going on in the game. Like, you remember the Wowhead blue tweet tracker?
Yeah.
Like, it's still useful,
but
significantly less needed than it was back when there were seriously like 50 fucking developers like just tweeting shit. And like now the developers get to just use their personal Twitter accounts as personal Twitter accounts, which like at first I think a lot of them were like, oh, this is awesome. Especially like right after Ghostcrawler left, a lot of people were like, I'm gonna be the next Ghostcrawler and everyone's gonna love me, and then they realized that that was not what happened for Ghostcrawler. So they were like, holy shit, everyone's just shouting at me all the time and I can't really use Twitter anymore. So now, like, a lot of those devs can just sort of hang out. I feel bad for Brian Halinka. He still kind of gets shouted at all the time.
Oh my god! Can we talk about that shit?
Yeah, go for it.
So, we know that people on Twitter, there's an issue on Twitter where because of how unfiltered it is and how anonymous it can be, and because of just like it's just general access. There are people that are going to get on who just have no filter, who don't understand what kind of types of things you can say, what type of things you can't say, whatever. Yeah. There was a guy who got on and he started tweeting at Halinka for, I don't know what the core of the issue was, but I guess because he made a change to locks or something.
See, that's the worst part. I'm just going to interject real quick.
Sure.
That's the worst part of this sort of rage is 99.9% of the time, we have no fucking idea what the person is even mad about. Like, what will make this person happy? We don't know. They've spent their entire tweet spouting profanities and death threats.
Yep. Yeah, he and he made. I wish I had a link because I had it here. But I know his account went private.
Yeah.
But he basically was like,
the guy that was tweeting this, not Brian Halinka. His is still
right.
public.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. This guy basically tweeted at Halinka, and he was like, "Hey, so I wish I lived in the States because I would find you and remorselessly kill you, or something to that effect over the course of like 3 or 4 tweets." And I was just like, man, fuck. And the tweet that Halinka had at the end was something on the end of on the topic of, now you see why I don't tweet about WoW stuff, or maybe I shouldn't tweet about, I don't know, something about being remorseful about tweeting about WoW related stuff, because you have shit like that, and it's like, fuck. And then there's I think it was you or someone that said, this is why Blizzard goes to the extent of protecting his employees to the best of their ability. And it's like, man, no company should have to go to any extent to protect their employees from anybody that, from any clients. Like working at CompUSA doesn't go through any extent to protect its employees, when they leave work, working nowhere else, in no other industry, except for the online industry, I feel like, because it's so unfiltered, do they need to go to that extent? And maybe, I guess, like, some kind of law enforcement. But yeah, it's like these kind of threats are just like fucking absurd. I could not believe it that this guy went on this kind of rampage. But at the same time, I wasn't surprised, because we've seen it happen so many times in the past.
Yeah, and like, I think it's like one of the things I said. Like, I ended up kind of like, it was getting kind of late. I was getting kind of tired, but also feeling super philosophical at the time for some reason. So I ended up sending a whole bunch of tweets that were like, let's talk about this for a while. And one of them was like, someone asked me, like, is this really a thing or something like that? I don't remember exactly what the question was. It wasn't like ignorant or anything. It was just like, does this actually happen that often? And the reality is, it's a daily occurrence for many developers. Like Brian Halinka, like, it happens to him all the time, where people are like, I'm going to kill you and your family. And like, that's not an okay thing to tell somebody.
Right.
Like, that's not okay. And like, I've had several death threats towards me. And some of them where the FBI then became involved, because we were like, okay, there's potentially a credible threat here. And there's nothing as terrifying as having your office security team, which exists. So first of all, that exists in itself is kind of terrifying. But there's nothing as terrifying as having them then tell you, yeah, we think this threat might actually be credible, so we're going to get in contact with the FBI and chase this guy down and make sure that he's not dangerous. Yeah. And I'm sitting there at work like, fuck. Like, do I just not leave? Now? Do I live here? Like, is this what's going on? And it's fucking crazy. And like, it's easy to say, I mean, people just say shit on the internet, and, oh, you just got to ignore the haters and so on. Like, that's easy to say. But it's really, really hard to do. Like, when you're sitting there at your desk going, I don't know if it's safe to walk to my car right now. Like, that's fucking terrifying. And like, recently, so I just set up a link shortener for myself because I'm a narcissistic clown, which is devilo.re, so it spells Devilore. I was really proud of that, and I was really glad that even existed, like the .re even existed, so I was able to get it. I think it's really cool. But like, at first, the Whois had like some of my personal information in it, because every other registrar I've ever used, because RE domains are a little bit weird, I had to go through a certain registrar. And every other domain registrar I've ever used has Whois protection. This one didn't. So they just put my info in there. So it had like my phone number in there at one point. And I was like, I like this domain name. I don't want anyone to know that this exists right now, because I have no fucking idea what people can look up based on this bit of personal information that was in the Whois for that. And I was like, it's probably like, if this was 10 years ago, if this was 6 years ago, like if this was while I was just doing Tank Spot, I probably wouldn't have been that worried about it. But nowadays I'm like, there are people that threaten to cause me physical bodily harm. I don't want them to know where I live, and I don't know if that information can come from this. So like the fact that you have to be so ridiculously super careful about absolutely everything. Like I for the longest time I had a PO box that I was just like, that's my address. That if anyone wants to know, like if I need to put my address in anywhere, it's this PO box.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just did not want to put my personal info into anything because I was super worried about that. And it's a legit concern, and it happens to a lot of developers. And like I said in my series of tweets, like Blizzard is fortunate, like we have this physical security team, that we have people whose job it is to go, all right, we're going to make sure you're safe. We're going to find out what's going on with this. We're going to work through various authorities and our own investigation methods. We're going to make sure that this is all taken care of and that you're safe. And that's awesome. But some random indie dev, they don't have that. Like if even someone like Phil Fish, like who's known for being a little bit controversial, if someone gets really, really upset at Phil Fish, he could actually be in physical danger for that.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. That is not okay. And that's just sort of the way that the internet has sort of accepted. It's like, oh yeah, if you put your name out there, people are gonna rage at you a lot, and you probably shouldn't put your name out there if you don't want to be raged at. It's like, no, you know what? Fuck you. Like this isn't okay. Damn it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's super shitty, but I mean, you'll be happy to hear that account has been suspended. Just look it up. So it's been suspended.
Unless they can suspend his ability to cause actions, that's actually
right.
Not
yeah,
that.
Yeah. It's like that's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Obviously there's like a rabbit hole here that you could very easily fall into, but that kind of shit does not need to happen. It's ridiculous. But yep, guy was an asshole.
Yeah. And by the way, I just someone was asking in my chat room on that domain name. I got all of the info changed to Blizzard's info. So I like it because it's a domain name. All the contact info has to be valid, and I have to be reachable through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm reachable through Blizzard, and all that info is like publicly searchable anyway. So like that's often how I forget Blizzard's phone number all the fucking time. So the way I find it is by Google searching for it.
What else?
What else should we talk about?
What else we got? We
We
got the Olympics starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
What?
Can't say that.
Can't say what?
Can't say the O word.
Why?
So here's a fun story. So we can say Olympics because we're a podcast and we're just talking about it.
Okay.
Look through everything that has a promotional marketing campaign related to the Olympics. Look at the Overwatch quote unquote summer games. Look at you'll see a bunch of people saying, check out our Rio 2016 promotion. Check out our Summer Games promotion. You will not see any of them say Olympics. And it's for the same reason that no one can say Super Bowl.
Oh my God. Really? Licensing?
Yep. I forget the exact name of the organization, the Olympics Committee or whatever it's called. They've licensed the name Olympics. So unless you are unless you're able to say that you are journalism, which we qualify as journalism in this podcast, unless you have a journalistic reason to say the word Olympics, as soon as it becomes a marketing campaign, as soon as you're especially putting ad spend behind something, you cannot say the word Olympics anymore. You have to come up with some other. That's why like when you watch Super Bowl ads, you will never see somebody saying, "Oh man,
yeah, it's always like
about
the
to
big
sit
game
down."
or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're gonna have some Doritos so we can watch
hilarious.
the Super Bowl, because then they would lose any potential money that they made off of that ad. No, instead they'd be like, time for the game. Oh man, gonna sit down for the game. It's time for the big game. Yeah. And that's really, like, there's been several, mostly because of this Overwatch promotion, there's been several emails going around my department that are like, remember guys, don't fucking say Olympics.
Right? Yeah, that's got to be rough. Wow.
Yeah. It's really hard because, like, look at WoW. Like, there was a quote-unquote Olympics-themed event in WoW ages ago, but it wasn't called an Olympics. It was called, like, the Spirit of Competition or something.
That's right. The Spirit of... It had an Olympic-style symbol on it, but it might have been varied or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I hadn't noticed that.
It's really funny to me.
Mm-hmm. So the Summer Games in Rio are happening.
Rio 2016.
Rio 2016 is happening, starting tomorrow. Are you going to follow any of that?
I might. I don't get cable, or I don't think I have any way to actually watch it.
Yeah, there's plenty of streams.
I'm sure there are less than legal ways to see it. I try to put my criminal past behind me. I try to live on the up and up these days. Try to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you may or may not watch it. That's great. Yeah, we on one of the apps. I don't know which one of our fucking apps we can watch it. So we're gonna be following up with that. I think it was like CBS, NBC Sports or something. I can't remember, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Michael Phelps is coming back for I think the fourth time. I think now. He's already got like 18
now
gold
with
medals.
even less body hair.
With dude, I was watching him in the qualifications. And he's got like he's so fucking it's like this guy is in any other, like he is the exception to the rule, right? Where it's like everybody has their prime, you know, where they go on, they go to the Olympics, and if they do well, great, because that's when their body is going to be at its prime. They'll probably never come back again, you know? He's in fucking fourth time, man. He's out here and he's smoking all these guys. It's fucking crazy. He's only doing a handful of actual events. But still, just the fact that this guy can at I think he's like 30 or something. Let me actually look to see how old he is. Michael Phelps, let's see age. I'm gonna look at that. He's 31. 30 fucking one. And he's and Lochte, who's like, you know, who's another swimmer who's also really, really good. Obviously doesn't have anywhere near the amount of medals that Phelps has, but he's also like 30, he's 32. But yeah, these guys are like just killing it well beyond what was supposed to be their prime. And I think that's just like, it's phenomenal to watch it happen. It's also kind of such shitty because I'll watch it, I'll be like, man, like Michael Phelps is fucking built. I remember when I was 31, I looked nothing like that. Usually it's like when you see a 20-year-old out there, like, you know, lifting or running or doing whatever in the Olympics, it's like, yeah, when I was 20, I was in pretty good shape. But then that ends. Damn, you know, Usain Bolt is actually 29. I wonder if he's coming back for this. I'm sure he probably is. Let me see. Yeah, he is. Yep, he's going to be doing the 4x100, the 200, and the 100. No. That's all. Yeah. He's only doing 3 events, just like Phelps. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, I'm watching. I'll watching for that, and then I'll be watching the women's gymnastics. You ever watch gymnastics?
Yeah, I used to. It's like, it's one of those things that you always like, their outfits look silly, but then you see them do shit and you're like, right, well, I cannot make fun of these people. They're better at being a human being than I am.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, like you watch them and it's like you can't help but to be like, damn, like that's incredible
Yeah.
what they're able to do, and the speed at which they're able to do some of these things. Especially when they do like the vault, or when they do even like their floor routines. And it's just incredible. And then of course, we have like the Olympic team, that we send out there. And the last one, I think we won basically everything. And it was just phenomenal to see them. So now it's like there's a couple that are returning, and so since I got hooked last Olympics, some of them are back again, and so now I want to watch again to see how they, it's like, okay, yeah, we have a couple newcomers, and then we have some old crowd. I feel like that's how the Olympics gets you, like you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's great, but then like you remember their names, and then later you come back and you watch it again and you recognize like, oh yeah, like, I want to see these guys perform again 4 years later, and how they've improved, or how, if they end up failing, then you're just like, oh, well, hey, they had a really great Olympics. A lot of people can't even say they've done that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, man. I'll try to find some method of watching it. I'm hoping that, like, I have Sling TV now, so hopefully they'll have it somewhere, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have ESPN through that. It's bound to be on ESPN. Fucking everything's on ESPN nowadays.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, let's see. What's the team? Let's see. Team for Olympic gymnastics. Yeah, Gabby Douglas. Ali Raisman, which you've probably seen. And then there's a couple like new ones, I think. But Michaela Maroney, the one with the smirk, heard round the world. She's not back. For some reason. But yep. Shit's gonna be awesome. Let's see, when is it? Watch live 4:30 Eastern time. So it's gonna be tomorrow. 4:30 Eastern time. Rio Olympics, man. And then there's all the controversy around it. We didn't even talk about that part yet. About how 3 teaspoons of the water is gonna give somebody the HIV or something.
Yeah.
There's like just tons. There's actually a subreddit for it that I was just actually introduced to. It's r/Apocalyptics 2016. And it basically it's great, man. Like, it just breaks down all these things that you could watch that see. Brothel bust. Rio de Janeiro police smash prostitution ring near Olympic Stadium just days before game's opening ceremony. Some of the girls involved in the ring were as young as 14. Another one. Nigeria men's football team will arrive in Brazil 6 hours before the first match as their first plane was too small.
Nice.
Jamaicans arrive to unfinished rooms inside athletes' village. There's so much stuff. Pool too soupy to train in. Soupy.
Soupy?
I have dead mice, consistently drowned mice in my pool, and I wouldn't call it soupy. I would just say, yeah, it's it's got its issues and occasionally a dead mouse, but I wouldn't call it soupy.
Mouse soup.
Yep, so that's gonna be great. Go US. Yeah. Number 1.
Yeah, USA. USA.
Mm-hmm. About the only time I'll cheer for someone else is like probably in track and field, and then in the winter games. Like, for some reason, the winter games, like, there's so many countries that have so many people that are just way, way better than what we could put out there. Like, we have a handful of like really good athletes usually for winter games, but especially like when you talk about like ice dancing and all that, like usually like the Russians or somebody just like kill it every single time. So you can't help but to cheer for some of them.
Yeah, they're always really good. That's all the input I have on that.
Hey, have you started watching Stranger Things?
I've not yet. No.
All right. Well,
Man,
you're dead. You're dead to me. Now you're dead to me. You have no Mr. Robot. No.
I'm dead to the entire world, man. I've barely been home lately. Been working.
I don't see how this is an excuse, because this app is available on your phone.
Well, Because I'm working. I'm not gonna watch
working.
No, I'm fucking working, man. I don't know if you know about this, but I'm kind of, like launching a video game in like 3 weeks.
Oh, but still, you only need like 6 hours, something like that, to get through all of Stranger Things. Mr. Robot. I mean, wait, did you watch the first season of Mr. Robot?
I watched like 5 or 6 episodes of it.
Okay.
It's really good. I want to watch more of it, but like my exposure to it has been on planes.
Sure, yeah.
Like it's been available to watch on planes, and that's
All right, we'll catch up.
All right, I'll do my best.
Whenever you get a chance.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
To our completely made up show.
Yeah. For having nothing to talk about, we sure managed to make words happen for a little over an hour.